everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are tuning in from. I'm Dr. Jeffrey E. Berger, and welcome to Season 2 of the Holistic True Wealth series in collaboration with Mupo TV, part of Mupo Entertainment. This is a great series that I've been really privileged and blessed to be part of. And as the CEO and founder of Abundance and Optimum Wellness and a certified holistic wellness coach, I am of the belief that we all should be living a life of abundance and optimum wellness physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And as a certified health coach today, I'm really taking a finance first approach to achieving all encompassing personal well-being by embracing new ways to true wealth in the modern world. And I truly believe that exploring diverse paths opens the door to true wealth in every sense. And as a global ambassador for an innovative company revolutionizing the future of real estate through digital technology, I am really deeply committed to empowering individuals and communities worldwide, as we know that finances are the number one stressor for most people today. And my mission really goes beyond business by providing global-minded entrepreneurs and individuals with new ways to true wealth in the modern world so they can really circumvent the systems that we have that are broken and corrupt today and go from financial fatigue to financial freedom. And it's really about creating opportunities, providing access, and building a more inclusive and supportive digital world where everyone has a chance to thrive. And true wealth is not really just about money. It's a combination of the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial fitness. It's that one big formula there. And myself and my special guests that I bring on every time are all about bringing awareness around all types of alternative solutions from all aspects, leading one towards a path to overall true wealth. And the mission is really to provide real solutions out there for the real people who are serious, and I mean really serious, about wanting to go from barely surviving to thriving. And that is what we're really all about. So before I get started, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And for those of you that are interested in this interview series in a collaboration with Mupo Entertainment, we can be found at mupotv.com. You can download the Android or the iOS app. We are seen in 144 countries. We're seen on Fire TV, Roku, and Vimeo. And I just found out that we have been picked up by Paramount, and they are looking at this syndication to expanding it to a much wider audience. So we're very, very excited about that. So I will be right back, or will be right back, and I will introduce my very, very special guest for today. Okay, we are back, and all the way from my home state of New York, living outside of Jamestown, the birthplace of Lucille Ball, we have Sabrina Johnson with us today. And Sabrina has an extensive background, and I'm going to give you some highlights here and bullet points, but she helps you rewire your mindset. She helps you boost confidence and achieve more. She's a certified NLP and hypnosis expert. She's certified as a mindset mentor. She's a hypnotherapist, personal transformation coach, just to list a few of her accolades. And she is the CEO of Next Win Coaching LLC, along with hosting her own podcast, which is titled Sabrina Sense Podcast. So welcome to the show today, Sabrina.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Jeff. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. That's great too. It's great to have you on board today. I'm excited to talk to you with with all that you have going on. And I'm very familiar. Well, I should say I'm familiar with NLP. I did take a course in that about 2 years ago. It was very, very intense. But before I dive into the questions, I like the audience to get to know the guest from a non-business perspective. So share a little bit about who Sabrina is.
Sure. So outside of the certifications and all of my coaching work, I'm a curious person by nature. So I love learning. I am a fan of quiet mornings. Those are always great. I get to meditate, do some breathing exercises. I love anything outdoors. So going for walks, kayaking, and of course, I'm a mom, I'm a dog lover, and a lifelong learner. So I'd say that summarizes me in a nutshell.
No, that's great. I mean, a mom is a full-time job right there, and running your business is a big task. So you've got a lot of things that you're juggling. So that's awesome. So, really, knowing you for the couple of months that I have and researching you as an individual, there are many things that we kind of have similar experiences in some respects. But and as far as the backgrounds, with so many leaders, they run into the same thing as I've met them over the last couple of years, specifically about low confidence. We all start with that. And we're all in careers. Many of us are primarily in careers that are, stagnating, and we've lost passion within those. And I totally respect it when, or I totally not respect it, but resonate with what you did as far as walking away from corporate America, which is what I did in 2015. So share a little bit with the viewers what that was like for you personally from your side, and the reasons that you got to where you are today.
Well, for me, it was kind of a slow buildup. It was years of performing and people pleasing and trying to do my best, achieving the things that I wanted to achieve, proving I could do it, but I felt disconnected.
Yeah.
The more successful I got, the more disconnected I felt like I was becoming. I was doing all the things you're supposed to. I was climbing the goal, climbing the ladder, meeting my goals, getting recognition, but I just felt invisible. Like I was succeeding in everyone else's eyes, but slowly disappearing in my own.
Right.
And
I
with
relate.
that, you lack passion. It quietly creeps in.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true. And I felt that after working 27 years as a software engineer. In the last, 5 to 7 years, it was a hostile and toxic work environment. And you had no voice, and you were puppets. They wanted you to be puppets, and they pulled the chains and wanted you to jump. And that's not how, unfortunately, many corporate America establishments work in that model. Not all, but very, very few don't work in that model, which is really too bad. So for you, what was the straw that broke the camel's back? Excuse me, the straw that broke the camel's back to getting you out of the situation and doing, leading up to what you're doing today? What was that kind of preparation work for you while you were working? And it's like, I can't do this anymore. What I need to do something else, and then you finally jumped ship.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And thinking back, I remember this moment so clearly because I was sitting in my car in the parking lot of a client site. My calendar was full, my inbox was a mess, and I just kind of sat there frozen. I was in tears. I wasn't exactly burnt out in the traditional sense, but it was more of like emotional shutdown, and all of it just kept building. And the thought that came to me is if I keep living like this, I'm going to disappear completely.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the shift. Not a loud breakdown, but kind of a quiet decision. I can't do this version of me anymore.
Right.
So that's when I started exploring a little bit more about the mindset and really got into that work.
Yeah, no, that's great. And, I relate to that because I actually was, achieved burnout working 70, 80, 90 hours a week, managing 13 to 16 projects at one time. And was out for 6 months. And then the day that I came back, I was driving in my car and all I could see were my knuckles were starting to turn white because I was gripping the wheel,
Yeah.
thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be going back. Am I going to be going back to the same situation? That's why I said, you know what? I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. I can't do this to myself. So that's the day I walked into my boss's office and said, I'm done. And she said, you can't quit. You have to give 2 weeks notice. I said, watch me. And I went to my desk and walked out and never looked back. So, and sometimes you have to take those calculated risks and do what you got to do that's best for you, because that's the bottom line. Is we have to look out for ourselves because nobody else will. So, yeah, so great, and I really enjoy talking to other people who are stepping out of their comfort zone and getting into their uncomfortable zone, because that's where growth really happens. And that's where magical things happen in many, many respects. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with Sabrina. But real quick, I mentioned that I'm a global ambassador for a very unique high-tech company that is actually, we're launching in the United States. We're incorporated in California. We're setting up a USA headquarters. This is all about the technologies of today that are changing the future and the way we'll be doing things. And the early birds always get the bigger worms. And I'm an early bird, and I'm very, very blessed and thankful that I was open to receiving information about 2.5 years ago. And this just gives you a little taste of what I'm doing at this particular point, expanding in the US market. And we'll be right back to wrap up with Sabrina. Okay, we are back with Sabrina Johnson, a hypnotherapist. So, one of your many traits that you have is that you really help those who are stuck, and in coaching your clients who are really ready to unlock their potential. And everybody has a certain potential within them that has been, given to them at birth, is what I believe. It just needs to be nurtured and brought out. But can you share with the viewers what that process really looks like and how you work with your clients in bringing out their unlimited potential?
Absolutely. So, mostly I work with high achievers, people who are often silently struggling with overwhelm, anxiety, self doubt, low confidence, even if things look good on the surface. And that's important because we have a lot of people that are just wearing a mask daily.
Yeah.
And you never know what's under that surface. The process I guide them through, it blends neuroscience, subconscious reprogramming, and emotional regulation. So first I uncover the subconscious beliefs and the hidden patterns that keep them feeling stuck.
Right.
And usually these are formed in childhood from past trauma. So when we use hypnotherapy to access the emotional root of those blocks, because actually, I want to back that up a little bit. We use hypnotherapy to access the emotional root of these blocks. Okay, that's what I meant to say. Because logic alone can't solve what's stored in your nervous system.
Okay.
And then finally, once we uncover those, I create a new internal blueprint with you. So it's very much a collaboration, one where success can feel safe, rest feels deserved, and confidence just becomes automatic.
Yeah.
And
So it sounds like that you're really unlocking the power of the brain that hasn't been really ignited because my what I've come to understand and learn is that, especially my generation, as we grow up, we go to school, we're indoctrinated into a system that is all about, go get good grades, graduate, and go find a job and be a robot for a company and then retire. And that's where, no voice comes in. Well, you're an employee, you've got nothing worth saying and nothing to, contribute. And I'm speaking that from that in a general perspective. This again, I don't correlate this to every single company. I've worked for several good companies that was not a problem, but towards the end of my career, it was like, wow, I don't even have a voice here, and we need to break those barriers and get out there and get. It really starts with self-love, is what I believe. Once you start loving yourself, you open up the Pandora's box to unlimited possibilities. So
absolutely. And I
yeah,
just
so
wanted to add, it's not just mindset work, it's
oh
identity level work.
oh
And
absolutely.
and that's what creates that real lasting change that people need.
Yes. I totally totally agree with you. So as a certified mindset mentor and a hypnotherapist with a proven track record of personal transformation, can you share one or two success stories with our viewers today that really have blown your mind from beginning to, this is where they were and here's where they are today, and just really thriving, in life today?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my first clients, and you never forget your first.
Right.
She was a VP at a major film firm. She was brilliant, but she was constantly overworking herself and she was
Yeah.
afraid to delegate, which was very interesting.
Mm,
She had this deep-rooted belief that if I'm not in control, everything falls apart.
right.
And that's very common, by the way. Through
Yeah.
hypnosis, we discovered that that came from childhood. She
Oh,
had
wow.
to be the adult for her family.
Oh,
She was taking care of her younger siblings. And that's a lot of stress on somebody that's 12 years old. So,
wow.
what,
Yeah. 12 years old. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where all of that pressure came from. And
Mhm.
once we rewired that survival pattern, that's when she started delegating. And that's when, more importantly, she felt safe to do so.
Oh, nice.
And it took us about a month because we had a lot to get through there. But she'd cut her hours by 30%. She was way more respected. And another, unless you have any questions on that one, is there anything else you want to
Yeah,
ask?
no, I mean, I think you said it took a month, which I'm like, that's amazing, because sometimes, people spend months, plural, or even into the years before they can overcome that. So that's remarkable that you did it within a month. So,
Yes. That is actually the really good form of hypnotherapy that I work with that's known as RTT. It's rapid transformational therapy. And so
okay.
you're
Yeah.
reprogramming that subconscious in a way that really hits it deeply so that we can see that rapid change. It's all about the dialogue that you use with hypnosis.
All right. Right. Is that part of, and I could be wrong with this verbiage, is that part of the reptilian part of the brain, or is that another part of the brain?
I don't know if you would call it the reptilian part. Well, yeah, I guess it would be considered that because it's basically where you're acting in your fight or flight
Right. Because
response.
yeah, what I recalled from, the course a couple of years ago is that that's the brain, part of the brain that we don't use enough. And we need to, balance that out. But go ahead.
Well, fight or flight is basically you're in this subconscious program. So you're 95% of the time you're on autopilot.
Mm,
Fight or flight kicks in when you start to panic or when you have
right.
anxiety.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize that they're functioning on autopilot all day. But anyways, another individual that I worked with was a business owner, and he kept sabotaging every big launch. He would prepare, he'd build the market, and then he'd just freeze.
Oh, wow.
We traced that fear way back. He had a fear of being seen, and that also stemmed from childhood because he had many siblings, and so he was kind of buried in the background, and everything that he did, nobody made a big deal about. They were just like, oh, good job, great that you did that. And he was always striving for that perfection,
right? And that recognition,
exactly.
Yeah.
And after just 3 sessions, he launched his offer. He filled out his spots in 2 weeks. And the best part was he really enjoyed it.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, congratulations. Yeah. That's great. So for those viewers that are out there and they're looking for some coaching, some hypnotherapy, learning more about what Sabrina does, you can contact her on LinkedIn. The link is below, and definitely reach out to her. And who knows, maybe, you know, it's it's next Wednesday that you're doing a live session. And if you want to hop on, reach out to Sabrina. Maybe she'll get you into that session on Wednesday of next week. But my last question for you before we wrap up is, if there was one nugget that you could share, that one nugget, one piece of advice that you could provide for one or more, we always want more, but if you can do it for one person who's out there really struggling, and from either a personal or professional or a combination of both level, they're just being sick and tired of being sick and tired, what would that piece of information that would give them that glimmer of hope? My gosh, that hope, I need to reach out to Sabrina today. What would that be?
Oh, that is such a powerful question, Jeff. And thank you so much for asking this. The first thing I would say is that you don't need a personality transplant. You need a pattern shift. Most people think that they need to become more confident, more disciplined, more of something. But the truth is they're already enough. They're just not living out patterns that serve them. And patterns they chose.
Right.
So
they didn't know any better.
Exactly. So if you're sick of trying harder, try softer. Get curious, slow down, work with your subconscious, learn yourself again. Don't work against it. And you'll find that the answers that you're looking for, they're not out there, but they're right in here, just buried under a lifetime of survival.
That's awesome. Well, I encourage those who are watching this to reach out to Sabrina, get connected with her, and just have a conversation. You never know where it's going to go. And again, you can reach her on LinkedIn there, and just pause the video while you're watching it, or the recording of this, watch that. And as we wrap up here, first of all, thank you, Sabrina, for taking the time from southern Western New York to come onto the show today, as I'm down in Florida here, loving the warm weather and enjoying not being in the cold anymore, but it's getting warmer up there now. But thank you for coming on today to the show, and really appreciate your input. Maybe we'll have to do another interview, in next season or something like that.
I'd be honored, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And Sabrina and I are involved with the Hounds of Business. It's a really great group on LinkedIn for those that are looking to connect with really great communities from a business perspective. Hey, if you want to come on from a personal perspective, that's fine too. But again, lastly, I had mentioned that I am a global ambassador for this international digital real estate ownership company, really expanding in the U.S. market and really educating people about the world of these new technologies. And I correlate this to, being open-minded, because the world is changing at a rapid pace and technology is evolving at an exponential pace. And to remain stagnant is to be left behind. And these technologies are the future of where things are going. And those of us who are in the know now are getting that information and starting to get educated. And I kind of correlate this back to the days of, well, first of all, to be open and just be receptive to, like, the earlier pioneers. They were open and receptive to exploring, just like those who got involved with Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, and Amazon in their respective industries. Today, the technologies of real estate tech, financial tech, educational tech, AI, and the metaverse are changing the globe today for massive changes in the future. So it's really about getting out there and learning all the different assets about these different technologies. So if you're interested in getting some information, the QR code is there. Scan. I do 5 monthly webinars for those individuals who are interested. And it's really about getting educated and looking at what's happening today that's going to change the world in the next 3 to 5 years. And you don't want to miss out, because the early birds always get the bigger worms. And I truly believe that holistic true wealth is about the balance and harmony across all disciplines that I embrace and teach, which is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial. That's the perfect formula. And it's really about creating that, it's creating a life that is rich in experiences, relationships, knowledge, and purpose. And by embracing this holistic approach, which is, what Sabrina's doing, she's doing things about, working with your mind and mindset and stuff like that, we can really achieve a state of well-being that is sustainable and fulfilling, leading us to live our best lives. And that's what we should be doing, is living our best lives, not struggling day to day. And so with that, I thank you all for, joining us today. And we're going to sign out with this last commercial here, and wishing you all a fabulous, fabulous weekend, week coming up here. And thank you so much again, Sabrina, for joining us today. Really, really appreciate that. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everybody.
You thought I was playing? Huh. I was playing? Huh.